Eamon, before the season gets underway, I want to fill you in on some rules changes coming to the tour this season. A modification for preferred lies, reducing the relief area to 1 scorecard length. How about when a broken or damaged club happens, a component carried by a player or another person may be used as a replacement? How about a change in the 2-and-2 relief rule will now include holes that are treated as ground under repair by a referee at the internal OB may be used from the teeing area only. How about if your ball is embedded in a pitch mark made by another player? Relief may be available, but players will need to consult a referee, and then the determination will be made. And finally, the penalty for when a player is unaware that his ball may have moved has been reduced from 2 strokes to 1. Might call that the Shane Lowry rule. With more, let's welcome in Steve Rintoul, PGA Tour's VP of Rules and Officiating. I often see Steve hanging around the TV trailers explaining rules to us. We appreciate your time. What should the viewers look forward to seeing that's different this year, Steve?
Hey, Damon. Hey, Eamon. Thanks for the opportunity. I don't think viewers are going to see anything substantially different. I think in our world, these are little procedural things that will obviously be better outcomes for the player, but I don't see the viewer turning on the Sony broadcast this weekend and seeing anything substantially different than what they've seen anywhere else. You know, we're continue to evolve with the rules, and the USGA and the RNA have just been excellent partners of ours as we continue the modernization of the rules that were laid out in 2019. And I think the changes that we've adopted this year are nothing more than a continuation of those modifications from 2019, and are going to result in better outcomes for the players. And I think that's what the viewer wants to see at home.
What's the process, Steve, for deciding what rules are actually worth addressing for tour play? Because as we all know, you're too nice to say it, but we're not. But players tend to want rules changed whenever they run afoul of them, and otherwise they don't really pay much attention unless they're directly impacted. So how do you decide what really does actually need to be addressed?
Yeah, oddly enough, Damon, I would say the 5 model local rule changes that we're adopting outside of preferred lies really haven't had any input from our membership or from players. I think our committee and the committees on our other tours, well, once we get inside the ropes, we see things that just sometimes aren't quite right, and the outcome doesn't quite isn't an equitable outcome for the competition. So then we start, the ball rolling and how we're going to address this with the upcoming rule cycle. And as I said previously, the USGA and RNA has been very, very good in the process. They understand the game at the highest level. A lot of these local rules may be viewed as changes for the game at the highest level, but overall, they're better outcomes for the game.
How about when the player is unaware that his ball moved, going from a 2-shot penalty to a 1-shot penalty? We saw last year at the Open Championship what happened with Shane Lowry, his comments afterwards saying he was very nervous about, being, attacked on social media. He took it very personally. He didn't know that the ball had moved. Why was this one specifically moved from 2 shots to a 1-shot penalty?
Yeah, thanks. That's a great question, Damon. And I think I see that you're showing the video of Shane right now. This local rule, I would say, is the one we've adopted that is new to the game. The other ones we're adopting are all certain modifications to what's currently there. But this local rule really is about the player's knowledge and what the player could have been aware of. Obviously, in Shane's situation at Portrush, he had no knowledge that the golf ball had moved until he reached the recording area and was met by the referees in the recording area. When a player has no knowledge that his ball has moved, how can he possibly be thinking about replacing it, which is what the rule requires? I mean, he's not a clairvoyant. He doesn't know his ball's moved. He has no reason to bend down, pick it up, and replace it like a player would who knew his ball moved. So this rule is really about awareness. And what it does, it equates the penalty at the end of the day to a player who did know his ball moved and subsequently replaced it. And also the player who had no knowledge, as in Shane's case, that the ball moved, will also now need to be subject to the 1-stroke penalty, which really makes the penalty more equitable for all players.
One thing that spectators or viewers at home do see quite often, Steve, is the placing of a ball when using preferred lies. And that's been reduced, that distance, from 1 club length, which we've all seen frequently on broadcast, to just the length of a scorecard. It would seem a pretty big difference. What's the logic behind that decision?
Yeah, Damon, I think this one has probably had a little bit more player input than anything else. I think when you look at the history of the PGA Tour going back probably 40 or 50 years, when we played preferred lies, a club length has always been the standard relief area that the players used. But over time, as our agronomic conditions have improved with the excellence of our golf course superintendents, golf course conditioning, technology around agronomy, we really play on conditions that are superb week in and week out, both on the PGA Tour and our other tours. And I think when you think about a player who's given the opportunity to mark, lift, and clean and replace his ball, does he really need 92 inches? Think about 92 inches. It's a club length one direction, a club length the other direction. So that gives the player a width of 92 inches in total, which really gives a player a great opportunity to change the angle of the shot, especially around the greens, to change the grain of the grass the ball's sitting on, and perhaps even get his stance out of a fairway bunker. We've seen that. So I think this is a more equitable outcome in that it keeps the player closer to where his ball came to rest. So he's going to be pretty much faced with the same circumstance that he had when his ball came to rest. The other impetus for this, Eamon, is the fact that one scorecard length is used pretty much universally by our other tours. And we have so many players that are playing both the DP World Tour and our tour. I think it was time for us to get in line with the other tours, reduce the relief area. And I think once players go through this, I think there's going to be no issues at all.
Almost 300 years after these rules were first written down, Steve, we're still evolving them all the time. But it's great to talk to you without some controversy that requires you to be on TV at the time. Enjoyed the catch-up, Steve.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.